Ning Tian and Princess Yuling stepped out of Ning Tian's room. Standing in the corridor was the holy son of Tianbao. When he saw Ning Tian and Princess Yuling together, he was stunned. With fiery eyes, he shouted, "You two, a man and a woman, alone in the dead of night?" Ning Tian walked toward the holy son of Tianbao and calmly replied, "Princess Yuling had something to ask." The holy son of Tianbao sneered and retorted, "You're up to no good." In response, Ning Tian grabbed his face, glared at him, and commanded sharply, "Stop with the nonsense." Overwhelmed with fear, the holy son of Tianbao began sweating profusely and stammered, "Yes." At that moment Princess Yuling called out, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, let's go." Ning Tian nodded and replied, "Yes." As he began to leave, the holy son of Tianbao grabbed Ning Tian's hand and exclaimed, "I want to come too. Let's go together." Princess Yuling frowned slightly but said in an annoyed tone, "It's fine. The holy son of Tianbao can also come along." A while later, Ning Tian, the holy son of Tianbao, and Princess Yuling arrived at the Mirror Moon Pavilion. The air was filled with a delightful aroma wafting around. Taking in the scent, the holy son of Tianbao smiled and said, "What's that smell? It smells so nice." Princess Yuling replied with a calm smile, "My junior sister has prepared an excellent feast for you. Please come in." Inside, a young woman was waiting. Upon seeing Princess Yuling, she asked, "Senior sister, have you brought the distinguished guests?" "Oh." Her gaze shifted to Ning Tian and the holy son of Tianbao, and her expression turned to shock as she thought, "Wait, why are they here?" Noticing her reaction, Princess Yuling asked, "What is it?" The young woman quickly composed herself and replied, "Nothing." However, she stood silently in a gloomy manner. Princess Yuling gestured toward her and said, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, holy son of Tianbao, this is my junior sister Yuqian. Yuqian, this is fellow Taoist Ning Shuai and the holy son of Tianbao, the distinguished guests I talked about." Yuqian greets Ning Tian and the holy son of Tianbao. Ning Tian nodded and replied, "Hello." Meanwhile, the holy son of Tianbao, standing next to Ning Tian, was sniffing the air, captivated by the aroma of the food. Suddenly he rushed to the dining table, stared at the dishes and exclaimed, "Wow, what kind of delicacy is this? It smells so nice. I have never seen food that smells so good." Princess Yuling smiled and said, "This is the full banquet my junior sister has specially prepared for you, featuring the rare Shadow Wind Horse." Before she could finish, the holy son of Tianbao's chopsticks slipped from his hand and clattered to the floor. He froze, his entire body stiff as if he had turned to stone. His eyes widened, and it seemed as though lightning had struck his mind. In utter disbelief he stammered, "Shadow Wind Horse." Princess Yuling turned to Ning Tian, puzzled, and asked, "What's up with the holy son of Tianbao?" Ning Tian replied calmly, "He lost 2 shadow wind horses in the city a few days ago." At that moment Yuqian suddenly bolted from the room, running as fast as she could. Seeing this, Princess Yuling called out, "Yuqian, where are you going?" Without stopping, Yuqian shouted back, "Emergency." The holy son of Tianbao, with a furious and gloomy expression, turned to Yuqian and demanded, "Tell me, where did your shadow wind horse meat come from?" Yuqian, standing at a distance, gave an awkward laugh, scratching her head nervously, and replied, "Ah, this is..." Before she could finish, the holy son of Tianbao, now burning with rage, yelled, "I was wondering why my horses went missing right after arriving in Shenzhou City." "So, it's you, you horse thief." Irritated, Yuqian shot back, "Why so angry about it? You tied them on the roadside. How was I supposed to know they were yours?" The holy son of Tianbao shouted even louder, "You still dare to argue? Let's see." Yuqian shouted back defiantly, "What? Do you want to do something about it?" Suddenly Yuqian stepped close to the holy son of Tianbao, leaning in with a sly smirk. The holy son of Tianbao couldn't help but notice her chest, and his face turned bright red with embarrassment. Sensing his reaction, Yuqian gave him a smug smile and taunted, "Hey, coward!" From behind, Princess Yuling, clearly irritated, scolded, "Yuqian, you went too far." Just then, Ning Tian approached with a calm but sharp demeanor and said, "She doesn't seem to feel guilty. She stole our horses and should be punished. Princess Yuling, do you mind if I help educate your thief junior sister? At that moment, Ning Tian grabbed Yukin's hand, pulling her onto his lap, and began spanking her butt. Yukin screamed at Ning Tian, "You ugly man. How dare you?" When Ning Tian spanked her butt for the first time, Yukin's cheeks turned red with embarrassment, and she let out a loud cry, "Ah!" A few minutes later, Ning Tian stood at a distance, shaking his hand, which had turned red from the spanking. Meanwhile, Yukin, tears streaming down her face, clung to Princess Yuling, wailing, "Wah, senior sister, I can't get married now." Princess Yuling sighed and said sternly, "Well, you're the one who did something wrong first. Go apologize to the holy son of Tianbao. Otherwise, I will put you in solitary confinement." Sniffling, Yukin reluctantly approached the holy son of Tianbao, and with teary eyes, said, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have stolen your horses." The holy son of Tianbao, seeing her pitiful state, felt a pang of sympathy, and said nothing. Ning Tian then turned to Princess Yuling and asked, "Princess Yuling, can you tell me what I can do for you now?" Princess Yuling looked at him seriously and replied, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, I want you to help me become an empress." Surprised, Ning Tian asked, "An empress? A rebellion? What happened?" Princess Yuling shook her head and explained, No, that's not it. You two don't know. But what I want to fight for is the right to inherit the throne. My ambitions are not just to break through to the great emperor realm in terms of cultivation, but also to become the Supreme Divine Kingdom's Empress. I want to make the Supreme Divine Kingdom peaceful and prosperous. Ning Tian looked at Princess Yuling and asked, "So, what do you need me to do?" Princess Yuling took a deep breath and replied, "This is a forbidden area of the Supreme Divine Kingdom, called the Supreme Secret Realm." Hearing this, Ning Tian muttered to himself, "The place the Queen Mother of the West mentioned." Princess Yuling continued, "It was created by the founder of the Supreme Divine Kingdom, specially designed for the cultivation of the kingdom's disciples. There's something I need urgently, but to obtain it, I must cross a thunderstorm. The power of that thunderstorm is as strong as the 8th step of the Thunder Wind 9-step terrace. I've tried for several years but haven't been able to get through." Ning Tian paused for a moment, thinking it over, and then said, "No wonder you've been searching for someone who can step onto the 9th step of the Thunder Wind 9-step terrace." At that moment, Princess Yuling clasped Ning Tian's hands tightly and said, "In 2 days, the Supreme Secret Realm will open. I beg you, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, to accompany me. Whether or not I can secure the inheritance rights depends entirely on you." Ning Tian smiled faintly and replied, "Okay, but Princess, shouldn't you tell me about the reward?" Hearing Ning Tian's question, Princess Yuling became excited and exclaimed, "Of course, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai can make any request he wants." Ning Tian pondered for a moment, thinking to himself, "I don't know whether the Thunderheart fruit is an important treasure, or just an ordinary fruit in the secret realm." Meanwhile, Princess Yuling glanced at Ning Tian, noticing his charming demeanor and radiance. She suddenly felt flustered as Ning Tian seemed to sparkle in her eyes. Startled by her thoughts, she quickly let go of his hand, stepped back a little, and stammered, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, please don't think of something like that. It's impossible." This reaction left Ning Tian utterly confused, and he asked, "What thing?" Holy Son of Tianbao chuckled knowingly and added, "She might have thought of obscure things." Ning Tian frowned, brushing off the strange conversation, and said to Princess Yuling, "The reward is very simple. I want 1 Thunderheart fruit." Suddenly something occurred that made him pause in surprise, thinking, "What happened?" Just then, a system notification popped up for Ning Tian. "You shocked Princess Yuling, reward aura cultivation 100. Princess Yuling, still flustered, looked at Ning Tian and said, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, you're really asking for too much." Ning Tian then asks Princess Yuling, "Princess Yuling, what do you mean?" Princess Yuling responds, "The Thunderheart fruit tree only produces dozens of Thunderheart fruit in 1,000 years. It's very precious, even our royal family can't get it easily. But since it's fellow Taoist Ning Shuai's request, I will try my best to get it for you." Hearing this, Ning Tian becomes very happy and shouts, "How about adding a heaven-rank martial arts skill, and 10 billion spirit cons too?" Princess Yuling hears this and asks Ning Tian, "Will you ask for me next?" Ning Tian replies, "This won't do, my wife will come and stab me." Princess Yuling then asks in surprise, "Wife?" She suddenly comes closer to Ning Tian and excitedly asks, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, you really have a wife? Who is she? What does she look like?" Seeing her reaction, Ning Tian is initially startled but then answers, "My wife is the heavenly demonic sex Empress." Princess Yuling covers her mouth and exclaims, "Ah!" Then she starts laughing and says, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, don't joke around. If the Empress is really your wife, then the legendary patriarch of the heavenly demonic sect is my husband." Ning Tian says to Princess Yuling, "The patriarch is your husband? How didn't I know of this?" Princess Yuling replies, "What? If you can say the Empress is your wife, why can't I say the patriarch is my husband? He's handsome and is known through legendary tales. He's an idol worshipped by thousands of girls. Who doesn't want such a husband?" Ning Tian stands there silently, listening to her words like a clueless pig. After a moment, Ning Tian responds, "That's right, the patriarch is indeed handsome, just like me." Hearing this, Princess Yuling becomes annoyed and mutters under her breath, so confident, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai is truly amazing." She then hands Ning Tian a Taoist token and says, "This is the entrance and exit token for the forbidden area. Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai can move freely. I'll be waiting for you at the Mirror Moon Pavilion." Ning Tian says, "Got it. Holy Sun, let's go." He then looks toward the Holy Sun of Tianbao and sees that both the Holy Sun and Yu Qin are drunk and acting like fools. Yu Qin is saying to the Holy Sun, "How about it, Tianbao Holy Sun? The horse meat is nice, right?" The Holy Sun of Tianbao replies, "This is the best meat I've ever eaten. Tomorrow, I will bring all the horses from Tianbao Holy Land to you. We'll open a shop called." Before finishing, the two of them climb onto the table and start hugging each other while dancing wildly. Ning Tian watches this scene in utter disbelief, left speechless. Finally, he picks up the Holy Sun of Tianbao onto his shoulder and starts walking away, saying, "Let's go." Meanwhile, Princess Yuling and Yu Qin stand there watching. Yu Qin shouts after them, "Come again, guests." Sometime later, Ning Tian is sitting in his room, while the Holy Sun of Tianbao is sound asleep on the floor. Watching him sleep, Ning Tian says, "This guy sleeps so soundly. I'm going to the Supreme Secret Realm tomorrow, so I should seize this chance to practice and improve." Ning Tian then begins cultivating in the room. At this moment, his cultivation causes a golden aura to emerge, illuminating the night sky. The light is so bright that it can be seen from far away. Meanwhile, at the Imperial Palace Celestial Pavilion, someone is standing and notices the light. Observing it, they exclaim, "The Divine Moon Phenomenon. I didn't think the Supreme Legend was true." The person standing there is none other than eldest Prince Din Hadron. He continues, "According to the legend, the Supreme Emperor once left a treasure in a secret realm, and the Divine Moon Phenomenon is a sign of the treasure's appearance. As long as I get this treasure, there's no way they can compete with me for the throne." The next day, Ning Tian tries to enter the palace, but the guards stop him and say, "Stop, no outsiders are allowed to enter." Ning Tian silently shows them the token given by Princess Yuling. Seeing the token, one of the palace guards says, "So it's Princess Yuling's distinguished guest. I apologize for the offense, please enter." Ning Tian enters the palace and notices a large crowd gathered there. Seeing this, he thinks to himself, "Why are there so many people?" At that moment, Princess Yuling and Yu Qin approach him. Princess Yuling says, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, I have been waiting for you for a long time." Standing behind her, Yu Qin sticks out her tongue and teases, "Haha, big bad guy." As they converse, people in the crowd start whispering, "Who is that? Is he Princess Yuling's guest? He looks ordinary." Princess Yuling then explains to Ning Tian, "Today's the day of the Supreme Secret Realm's opening. So all the princes and princesses who can compete for the right of succession will bring their people here." Ning Tian responds, "I see." At that moment, a man and a woman entered together on horseback. The man loudly shouted, "Scram! Make way for me." As their horse pushed through the crowd, someone got knocked down. The woman with the man looked at the fallen person and sneered, "You can't even avoid a carriage? Trash. Get out of here right now. Don't get in Big Brother's way." Seeing this, Ning Tian asked Princess Yuling, "Who are these arrogant people?" Princess Yuling replied, "This is the eldest Prince Qin Horan and his sister Qin Yumei. They are siblings of the same mother. Qin Horan, the first son of the Lord of the Supreme Divine Kingdom, is just one step away from reaching the celestial realm. He's also one of my biggest opponents. Before we get the item, it's best to avoid a head-on confrontation with him." At that moment, a massive aura of pressure descended on the area, causing panic among the crowd. Yuqin clutched her chest and said to Princess Yuling, "Big sister, I can't breathe." Princess Yuling calmly replied, "It's the third uncle, Qin Feng. He's a powerful immortal emperor. It's understandable to not be able to withstand this pressure." She then turned to Ning Tian and asked, "He's an immortal emperor, but why aren't you reacting at all?" Ning Tian casually replied, Yes, I'm in shock." At the same time he thought to himself, "There are so many masters around me. Do I need to react all the time?" At that moment someone appeared, surrounded by a rapidly intensifying aura. The man then asked, "Is everyone here?" From the crowd, someone replied, "Third uncle, we can say that everyone is here. We can open the supreme secret realm." The man pulled out a crystal stone, which began absorbing an immense amount of aura. He then threw the crystal stone onto the ground and shouted, "Crystal stone." Seeing the crystal stone, Ning Tian thought to himself, "The crystal stone contains a lot of aura, but the output is small, making it very precious. The Supreme Divine Kingdom has such a big piece. The opening of the Supreme Secret Realm comes at a high price." At that moment, a golden beam of light shot out from the crystal stone, creating a door in the air. The door slowly started to open. Observing this, Ning Tian thought, "The Supreme Secret Realm is opening." The man then declared, "Open this door and enter the secret realm." The man added, "By the way, the secret realm lasts for 2 days. When the time is up, you'll be teleported back. There's no need to deliberately try to go further into its depths, just focus on becoming stronger." At that moment, Qin Yumei sneered, "Hey, a bunch of trash, you want to become stronger?" With that, she and her brother Qin Heron entered the Supreme Secret Realm together. Behind them, Yuqin made faces at their backs. Ning Tian turned to Yuqin and said, "So arrogant. Why didn't you steal their horse too? I think his precious horse is also nice." Yuqin laughed and replied, "Although your suggestion is good, big bad guy, I, Yuqin, am a disciple of the Misty sect. How could I do such a thing as stealing horses?" "Ha!" Ning Tian raised an eyebrow and asked, "Misty? I haven't heard of this sect. Princess Yuling, you as well?" Princess Yuling explained, "Yes, and the Misty sect isn't in the heavenly spiritual domain, but in the heavenly sky domain, which is far away from the Supreme Divine Kingdom. It's normal for fellow Taoist Ning Shuai to not know about it." Realizing this, Ning Tian nodded and said, "I see." Princess Yuling then said to Ning Tian, "Let's go now." Hearing her, Ning Tian started thinking, she's clearly a princess in this domain, so why would she join the Misty sect in the distant heavenly sky domain? Whatever, I will learn about it later. He then followed them into the Supreme Secret Realm. As Ning Tian entered, he exclaimed, "This is inside of the secret realm." At that moment he realized the gate to the realm was in mid-air. Shocked, he shouted, "Damn it," and plummeted toward the ground. He landed hard on the ground, and soon Princess Yuling and Yuqin approached him. Yuqin turned to Princess Yuling and asked, "Senior sister, I hope he didn't fall to his death." Princess Yuling replied, "Would be a shame." Then, addressing Ning Tian, she added, "Fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, although you have failed, I will wait until the secret realm ends and burn a few pretty paper wives for you, to send your soul in peace to the afterlife." Suddenly Ning Tian sat up and said, "Ha, I suddenly lost balance and couldn't react for a moment. That's terrifying." Seeing him alive, Princess Yuling and Yuqin screamed in fright and started sweating profusely. Yuqin shouted, "Ah, what a charlatan. Meanwhile, Ning Tian touched his face and thought, good thing that my face hit the floor first. Otherwise I would have been in pieces. Then Princess Yuling asked Ning Tian, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, are you okay? At the same time she thought to herself, at a height of several thousand meters, I managed to keep my balance at the last moment. He is an Earth King and fell hard to the ground, but he's not hurt at all. At that moment Ning Tian received a system notification, you shocked Princess Yuling and Yu Qin. Reward, Beast Tamer Call has been upgraded, host can now tame 4th level beasts. Seeing this, Ning Tian thought, a 4th level beast is equivalent to a human at the Earth King realm. Being able to control such a beast is worth the fall. Feeling pleased, he laughed loudly and said, haha, I'm okay. It's worthy of being called the Supreme Secret Realm. The aura is clearly richer than outside. Princess Yuling nodded and said, yes, this is also a very suitable place for cultivation. Suddenly Ning Tian noticed a massive statue in the distance and exclaimed, what's that? A little dragon man. Before him stood an enormous stone statue. Hearing his words, Princess Yuling laughed and said, haha, what? Little dragon man? This is the demon general that the supreme ancestor of the Supreme Divine Kingdom killed hundreds of years ago. He's carved into a stone statue and placed here. Curious, Ning Tian asked her, demon general? He then silently asked the system, why didn't I know there are demons in this world? Aren't there only humans and beasts? The system replied, host, your original body is just a man deemed as a minor character. The knowledge he has of the heavenly profound world is not complete. Then Princess Yuling asked Ning Tian, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, you and the Holy Son of Tianbao look close, but don't you know about the demon general of the demon clan? Yu Qin joined in, asking, yes, are you actually from the heavenly profound world? Ning Tian laughed awkwardly and replied, I usually only focus on cultivation, I rarely care for worldly affairs, so. Hearing this, Princess Yuling explained to Ning Tian, in this world there are thousands of races, but after the Dark Riot, a 3-way confrontation between the human race, demon race, and the beast race was formed. Each one of them guards their own territory. For example, the heavenly spiritual domain is controlled by the human race. The heavenly sky domain is mostly beasts, and the demon generals of the demon race are comparable to the god realm humans. Yu Qin then complained, I really envy your heavenly spiritual domain. It's not like our heavenly sky domain. We have to go out every now and then to carry out sect missions and exterminate beasts. It's so annoying. Ning Tian curiously asked, so what's this dark riot? Princess Yuling scratched her head, replying, I'm not sure about this, but this is how it's recorded in the ancient records. Yu Qin added, it's too long ago. I heard it happened millions of years ago. After their brief discussion, Princess Yuling and Yu Qin started running ahead, calling back to Ning Tian, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai. After passing the statue, the lightning cliff is right in front. What I am looking for is there. Soon, the trio arrived at a mountain cliff engulfed in intense lightning storms. Princess Yuling stopped and turned to Ning Tian, saying, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai, this is as close as we can get. Ning Tian observed the dangerous scene and asked, so what do I do now? Princess Yuling pointed towards the center of the chaos and said, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai just needs to pass through this minefield and take the item in the purple light sphere. At that very moment, a massive bolt of lightning struck down in front of them, its deafening roar and blinding flash making everyone flinch. Ning Tian muttered to himself, to enter this scorched minefield with your physique, and then resist the purple lightning. No wonder the princess didn't succeed. This scorched minefield alone is enough to make one celestial realm suffer. Not to mention, the purple lightning on the lightning cliff is even more terrifying than these ones. As Ning Tian moved toward the lightning cliff, Yu Qin tearfully exclaimed, Senior sister, do we really need to do this? It would be terrible if the big bad guy was electrocuted and turned into a piece of charcoal. Princess Yuling hesitated for a moment, then responded, although you performed well on the Thunderwind 9-step terrace, you're still an Earth King, fellow Taoist Ning Shuai. You can just do your best. Even if you fail, I will still give you the Thunder Heart fruit as promised. Ning Tian, determined and resolute, replied as he continued towards the lightning cliff. I don't like to owe favors to others. Since I promised, I'll do it. At his words, Princess Yuling blushed slightly, feeling both admiration and a little embarrassment. She looked at Ning Tian's sparkling figure, momentarily lost for words. At that moment, Qin Haran and his sister, Qin Yumei, stood in front of Ning Tian and the others. Sister Qin Yumei then said, I wondered who's so arrogant to want to seize the treasure of the lightning cliff. So, it's you, big sister. She continued, Big sister, why did you get a kid at the Earth King realm as your aide? Could it be that he's your kept gigolo? Bringing him to such a dangerous place, aren't you afraid he would die? Princess Yuling shouted, Yumei, what's that nonsense? Suddenly Ning Tian started moving rapidly towards Sister Qin Yumei. Seeing this, and astonished by Ning Tian's speed, Qin Haran exclaimed, so quick. At this moment Ning Tian said to them, It only takes one mouth to spread a rumor, but it takes a lot of effort to refute it. Do you understand? Then Ning Tian forcefully pushed Sister Qin Yumei. Seeing this, Qin Haran, furious, shouted, You dare to do this right in front of me? Looks like you're tired of living.